Alright, Chapter 4, Troubleshooting. The PGEV PGE Locomotives Woodward Manual 36703. Chapter 4, Troubleshooting. Introduction. It's impossible to anticipate every kind of trouble encountered in the field. Discover the most common trouble experienced before governing may be due to the fault of governor performance, or it may be due to the governor attempting to correct the faulty operation of the engine, turbine, auxiliary equipment, and the effect of the auxiliary equipment on the overall control requirements for the governor also may be considered. Warning, be prepared to make an emergency shutdown whenever shutting off the engine, turbine, or other type of the primary movement to protect against the runaway overspeed with a possible personal injury, loss of life, and property damage. Oil. Fill the governor with the oil marked for the oil level gauge with the engine idling. Oil must be visible with the glass on the gauge during all other conditions. Dirty oil causes approximately 50% of the all governor trouble. To usually clean a newer filtered oil contains a user fill governor with the bulk containers should be perfectly clean. Oil contaminated with water breaks down rapidly, causes the foaming, corrodes internal governing parts. Compensation of the needle valve. The compensation needle valve must be correctly adjusted by the governor controlling the engine turbine, but even the compensation may have been previously adjusted by the factory governing testing equipment, although the governor may appear to operating with satisfaction because the unit runs at constant speed, but the load of the governor still may not be correctly adjusted. High overspeeds and low underspeeds, slow return speed after loading, change of the speed setting, changes that are sometimes result with the incorrect setting of the compensation needle valve. Definitions. Using the chart following the page for determining the probable cause of the faulty operation corrected for these trouble. The terms used within the chart are defined as follows. Hunt is a rhythmic variation of speed which can be eliminated with blocking the governor operation manually, but which will recur when the engine is returned to the governor control. Surge, or it's a rhythmic variation of speed all the ways large magnitude which can be eliminated with the blocking governor actually manually, which cannot recur with the engine returned with the governor control unless the speed adjustment is changed if the load changes. A jiggle is a high frequency vibration of the governing fuel rod or terminal shaft. The fuel linkage does not confuse this with normal controlling action of the governor. Preliminary inspection. Governing troubles are usually related with speed variation, primary movement that does not necessarily flow with such variation caused by the governor, which improper speed variations appear with the following procedures should be performed. 1. Check the load to be sure that the speed changes but are not a result of the manual function of the vane servo with the general control circuit of the switchgear, etc. Check the engine operation to be sure all cylinders are firing properly, that the fuel injectors are good operating condition with the properly calibrated. Check the linkage between the governor and fuel racks to be sure that there is no binding with excessive black splash. Check the setting of the governor compensation needle valve. Check the speeding setting of the control circuit of the voltage level sequence. Check the fuel pressure changes. Check 7. Check the governor oil pressure test about port provided with the two side with the governor power case for the purpose of the source of many trouble. The hydraulic governor system with the stems and the dirty oil, grit, and other impurities can be in truth introduced to the governor with oil and can form. The oil begins with the breakdown, oxidized, becomes sludgy. The internal moving parts of the continually lubricated with the oil when in the unit of the valve piston plungers will stick and even freeze in the bores due to the excessive wear caused by grit and impurity of the oil. In this case, the erratic operation power response can be corrected by flushing the unit with the fuel oil or kerosene, usually commercial solvents, and recommended as they may damage seal or gaskets. Changing the oil or flushing the governor twice a year is possible. Remove the cover of the oil, open the drain cock, drain the oil out of the oil, flush the governing, filling with the oil. Fuel oil, the engine running at low speed with the cycle governing with the operating needle valve with 2 to 3 turns of the governor, hunting with a minute or two, then stopping the engine, draining the governor, flushing the governor once again, the fill governor with the oil, pouring it over the internal parts with it as visible, starting the engine, resetting the compensation needle valve. Check the drive of the governing with the evidence of the misalignment, the roughness, and effective backslash, etc. Are your engine hunts and surges? The needle valve cause the needle valve adjustment incorrectly. Adjust the needle valve as described in Chapter 2. Buffer springs too tight might be new installation on old installation because of the radical changes in the load condition. For correction, install a heavier buffer spring. Consulting Wood Governor Company. Engine hunts or surges, loss in motion, engine linkage, fuel pumps, or gas flow. Repair linkage, fuel pumps, or gas valve. Engine hunts or surges, bind the engine linkage, fuel pumps, the gas valve. Repair or realign linkage fuel pumps, the gas valve, engine hunts or surges, governor stroke is too short. This must occur with the new installation. Should be at least 50% of the fuel governor traveled between the idle and fuel load. Redesign the rework the fuel linkage required more governor stroke consulting engine manufacturer with the Woodward Governor Company. The engine hunt or surge at low oil level, no harm will be done with the top of the oil visible in gauge glass. The correction is adding oil slowly to the correct level in the gauge. Engine hunts or surges, dirty oil or foaming in the governor. Drain the governor oil, flush the governor clean, refill the proper oil clean, and bleed the air and adjust the needle valve. Alright, your engine hunts or surges, governor worn not correctly or adjusted. Alright, try spare governor, repair adjusting governor. A, check the flyweight, pins and bearings for wear. Check the flyweight toes for the wear and flat spots. Check the flyweight and head strut, thrust bearings, also center bearing. D, pilot valve plunger may be sticking, cleaning, pushing, polishing the necessary. Notice, do not break corners on the control land. E, for governor worn not directly adjusted, check the vertical adjusting valve plunger correcting necessary, and F, clean the polish all moving parts to ensure that it's a smooth and free operation. Also, with your engine hunts and surges, spring 2 weeks and telescopic link. Install the heavier spring so that the link stays in solid at all times. Alright, 2, your fuel pump racks do not open quickly when cranking in the engine. It could be caused by low oil pressure in the governor. The correction is check the governor pump with the gears. If the gear pockets of excessive wear, no correction except the replacing the worn parts. Also, the low oil pressure cause could be corrected by flushing the governor, refilling and cleaning oil, preventing removing the dirt of the pump check valves. Also, low oil pressure in the governor when the fuel racks do not open quickly enough when cranking engine can be corrected by examining the pump check valves and not seating tightly and installing new ones. Fuel pump rack does not open quickly. Cranking engine could be a cause of cranking speed too low. Install booster servo meter consulting the Woodward Governing Company. Fuel pump racks do not open quickly enough for the cranking engine. The booster servo motor is not functioning properly. Check for the correct by checking action automatically air starting valve and checking the air oil collection connections. Your fuel pump rack does not open quickly enough when cranking the engine. The shutdown nuts adjusted correctly. Loosen the nuts and start the engine. Readjust the nuts and proper clearance at idle. Alright, 3. You're jiggling the governor rod end of the terminal shaft. Can caused by rough engine drive, and the corrections are in the A and F series. Inspect the drive mechanism, check alignments for the gears, inspect the roof gears, the teeth, eccentric gears, excessive backlash from the train, check the gear keys of the nuts for the set of the screws holding the driving gears of the shaft, tighten the chain between the crankshaft and the camshaft. If used, check the engine with the vibration damper. If the governor has serrated drive shaft, check the wear of the shaft and serrated coupling. Alright, jiggling of the governor rod at the terminal shaft causes could be failure of flexible drive and flyweight head. The correction for a flexible drive and flyweight head is to remove, disassemble, clean the flywheel head parts, check the spring, install the new spring coupling assembly if necessary, center the coupling for equal travel in the opposite direction. Jiggling of the governing rod end or terminal shaft. The causes might be governing not bolted evenly, engine mounted pad. Loosen screw, disconnect the fuel linkage, turn the governor 45 degrees 45 clockwise and counterclockwise on the mounting for a few times, tightening the screw. Alright, your trouble in engine is slow to recover speed deviation resulting from the change in load with slow responding to change speed and setting. Your first cause could be an incorrect buffering speed in the governor. Install the correct buffering spring. Consult with the Woodward Governing Company. The second cause could be governing oil pressure at the low. See item 2 of the table. Your next cause for engine slow recovery of the speed deviation resulting change in load. The speed responding to the change in setting could be engine may be overloaded, reduce the load. Also, the supercharger, the cause could be the supercharger does not come to the speed quickly to supply sufficient air to the burn to add fuel oil. Your correction would be no simple field correction. Consult the engine manufacturer Woodward Governing Company overall supercharge. Alright, your trouble with the engine does not pick up the rated fuel load. The fuel racks do not open far enough. Check the fuel pump stop and adjust if necessary. Check the linkage between the governor fuel pumps and adjust if necessary. Oil pressure may be too low or see item 2 this table. Engine does not trouble. The engine does not pick up a rated fuel load. Supercharger does not supply sufficient air or the correction overhaul the supercharger. Alright, 6. Your engine overspeed is on. Trouble on engines overspeeds on starting. Your first cause governor is too slow. The adjusting the needle valve highest opening. Install lighter bushing, buffering springs if possible. Your second cause could be setting too high. Decrease the starting speed setting. Engine overspeeds on starting. Governing emits too much fuel. The starting, your correction would be to limit the travel of the booster servo meter, and B, readjust the speed setting of the manifold pressure of the torque limiter. Consult the engine manufacturer. Troubles with engine speed overspeeds on starting. The cause could be compensation bypass retarded. Install a short buffer piston. Alright, 7. Trouble in engine stalls on deceleration to minimum speed. Cause if the governor is too slow, adjust the needle valve with the maximum opening. Install the lighter buffer spring. Try to shorter the buffer spring. Also, engine install deceleration to minimum speed. Cause minimum speed too low. Raise minimum speed. Engine stalls deceleration minimum speed. Cause can be compensation not being cut off at the idle. Consult the Woodward Governor Company to check how the governor is built. Alright, your trouble 8. Hard starting and or smoke for a short duration during the starting after the relatively long shutdown period. Causes fuel limiters, anti-siphoning, check valve leakage, sensor piston goes to maximum fuel position at startup, then returns to minimum fuel position as the housing refills with oil. Correction, replace the check valve. Alright, 9. Your trouble in excessive smoke during acceleration. Your causes are fuel limiter or orifice pack clog, sensor piston goes to remain at a maximum fuel piston. The correction for that would be the drain governor oil, flush the fuel, kerosene, refuel the clean oil, operate with a short time, then drain, refill necessary, remove the fuel limiter, orifice pack, disassemble and clean. Excessive smoke during acceleration cause could be a fuel limiter not adjusted correctly, adjusted instructed in Chapter 6, or restoring spring fatigued or broken, replace the restoring spring. Alright, number 10, you have trouble engine bogs during acceleration. Your cause is the load control override linkage improper. Adjusted instructed in Chapter 6. 11. Erratic operation trouble. Erratic operation. Contaminated or cause can be contaminated form of the oil sludge formation. Drain the governor oil, flush the fuel oil, kerosene, refuel with clean oil. Operating for a short time, drain and refill necessary. Remove the fuel limiter, deassemble the cleaning. Erratic operation trouble cause low governor oil at air entrapment. Add oil to the correct level and indicate with the sight glass gauge to check the leakage, particularly with the governor drive shaft oil seal. Check the manifold air pressure with lens presence of the oil. When would indicate with leakage of the fuel limiter bellows. Erratic operation cause could be leakage of the manifold air pressure lines or fittings. Repair the leaks. Fuel limiter bowl leaking. Replace the bellows. Alright, and if you have trouble with a dead band at a low high end fuel limiting schedule, the cause could be the fuel limiting sensor piston travel not properly calibrated with the manifold air pressure range. Adjustments are instructed in Chapter 6. Fuel limiter troubles are erratic operation, slow response, change the manifold air pressure, usually restrict oil contamination. Correct this type of trouble flushing with the governor with the fuel and oil kerosene. Notice to prevent damage from the oil seals and gasket, and not use non-petroleum based solvents. Chapter 5, Maintenance.